Myles, your expertise in designing and maintaining epoxy tables is renowned. Can you share your top tips for properly cleaning and maintaining these tables? What common mistakes do people make, and how can they be avoided? Thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk about epoxy tables. They are not just pieces of furniture, they are works of art that require care to maintain their beauty and functionality. I'll be happy to share my tips and insights. Let's start with the basics. What is the first thing someone should know about cleaning an epoxy table? The first thing to understand is that epoxy tables have a glossy, durable surface, but they still need gentle care. For everyday cleaning, you should use soft, damp cloths. Avoid using abrasive materials or harsh chemicals as they can scratch or dull the surface. A mild soap solution is usually sufficient for most spills and dust. That sounds simple enough. Are there specific types of cloth or cleaners you recommend? Microfiber cloths are ideal because they are soft and non-abrasive. As for cleaners, avoid anything with ammonia or bleach. These can break down the epoxy over time. Instead, opt for a gentle dish soap mixed with water. For a natural alternative, a mixture of vinegar and water can also work well, but be sure to rinse it off thoroughly to avoid any lingering smell. What about tougher stains or spills? How should those be handled? For tougher stains, you can use a slightly stronger mixture of dish soap and water. Apply it with a soft cloth and gently rub the area. For sticky residues, a plastic scraper can help, but be very careful not to scratch the surface. If you encounter something particularly stubborn like dried paint or glue, rubbing alcohol can be effective. Apply a small amount to a cloth and gently work on the stain. Always test any cleaner in an inconspicuous area first to ensure it doesn't damage the finish. Great advice. Now, let's talk about long-term maintenance. What should owners of epoxy tables do to keep their tables looking new over the years? Regular dusting and gentle cleaning are key. Additionally, it is important to avoid exposing your epoxy table to a direct sunlight for prolonged periods. UV rays can cause the epoxy to yellow over time. Using tablecloth or placemats can also help protect the surface from scratches and heat damage. That makes sense. Are there any products specifically designed for maintaining epoxy tables? There are some excellent products on the market, such as specialized cleaners and polishes. These can enhance the shine and provide an extra layer of protection. When choosing a product, make sure it is recommended for use on epoxy surfaces. Speaking of scratches, what should someone do if their epoxy table gets scratched? Minor scratches can often be buffed out with a fine polishing compound. You will need to use a soft cloth and work in a circular motion. For deeper scratches, you might need to sand the area lightly with a fine gray sandpaper and then reapply a layer of epoxy. This can be a bit tricky, so if you are not comfortable doing it yourself, it is best to consult a professional. That sounds like good advice. Are there any common mistakes people make when caring for their epoxy tables? Definitely. One of the most common mistakes is using harsh chemicals or abrasive cleaning tools. These can damage the surface and dull the finish. Another mistake is neglecting to use coasters and placemats. Hot objects can leave marks and rough items can cause scratches. Lastly, dragging heavy or sharp objects across the table can cause gouges and chips, which are difficult to repair. Those are important points to remember. Let's talk about environmental factors. How do changes in temperature and humidity affect epoxy tables? Epoxy is quite resilient, but extreme changes in temperature and humidity can cause it to expand and contract. This can lead to cracks or separation from the wood base. It's best to keep your table in a stable environment. If you live in a particularly humid area, using a dehumidifier can help. Conversely, in very dry climates, maintaining some level of humidity can prevent the wood from drying out and cause stress on the epoxy layer. What about placement in the home? Are there certain areas where an epoxy table should or shouldn't be placed? You should avoid placing your epoxy table in direct sunlight or near heat sources like radiators and fireplaces. The UV light can yellow the epoxy, and the heat can cause it to warp or crack. Additionally, placing the table in a high traffic area where it is likely to be bumped or scratched frequently can lead to more wear and tear. Ideally, you want to place it in a spot where it can be admired and used without being exposed to harsh conditions. That is very helpful. Are there any special considerations for those who might use their epoxy tables for dining or crafting? If you are using your epoxy table for dining, it is crucial to use placemats, coasters and trivets. Food and drink spills should be cleaned up immediately to avoid any potential staining. For crafting, especially if you are working with sharp tools or heavy objects, consider using a protective cover or mat to prevent scratches and dents. Being mindful of these activities can significantly extend the life and beauty of your table. It sounds like a little extra care goes a long way. Can you share any personal experiences or stories that highlight the importance of proper maintenance? Sure. I once had a client who used their epoxy table as a makeshift workbench. They didn't think twice about using tools directly on the surface, and over time, the table became covered in scratches. When they contacted me to restore it, it was quite a challenge. We managed to repair it, but it required sanding down the entire surface and reapplying multiple layers of epoxy. This situation could have been easily avoided with a protective cover. On the flip side, I have another client who followed my maintenance tips religiously. Their table is several years old and it still looks as good as the day it was delivered. They regularly clean it with a microfiber cloth, avoid placing hot items directly on it, and use placemat and coaster diligently. It is a testament to how proper care can preserve the beauty and functionality of an epoxy table. Those are great examples. Before we wrap up, is there any final advice you would like to give to epoxy table owners or prospective buyers? My final piece of advice is to treat your epoxy table with the same care and respect you would do for any valuable piece of furniture or art. Regular maintenance is key, but so is being mindful of how you use a table. If you take your time to protect and clean it properly, your epoxy table can remain a stunning piece in your home for many years. And for the prospective buyers, I would say don't be intimidated by the maintenance. With a little effort and the right techniques, it is easy to keep your table looking fantastic. Thank you, Myles, for sharing your expertise and tips with us. Your advice will surely help many people enjoy their epoxy table for years to come. It is my pleasure. I'm always happy to help people appreciate and take care of their epoxy tables. They are truly unique pieces, and with the right care, they can bring a lot of joy and beauty into any space.